Welcome to the Land Rover Halftime Report.
John Brickley, Andy Katz with you. Let's start with a battle in the ACC. North Carolina playing host to Virginia early on. Luke May knocking down the three to put North Carolina up by 5. Later on, Justin Jackson stepping up, Andy.
He's been so solid for the Tar Heels. Something you don't see from Virginia, a losing skid, which could continue if they lose to Carolina.
Part of a 20-4 run for the Tar Heels in that first half. Jackson again doing it. All North Carolina in that first half. Not a surprise. This one is just gone final for the women. They survived as UConn, beating Tulane 63-60, 101 straight wins. 3 of those wins in that win streak only by single digits.
And Gino Auriemma, after getting number 100, I remember he was talking about the danger of playing this next game against Tulane.
As we welcome you into the Land Rover Halftime Report, John Brickley, Andy Katz. Our matchup, Washington and Arizona, back and forth battle, 42 apiece at the break. From Arizona's standpoint, their prospects moving forward.
Well, they're in an interesting situation here because next weekend, College Game Day will be there. They're going to host UCLA. If they can survive this game and beat the LA schools, they could potentially be in position to rise up from where Lenardi has them as a 3, possibly to a 2, and really be in contention for a 1 with possibly the ACC champ. Now, Oregon may have something to say about that as well. Lauri Markkanen, by the way, one of the best freshmen in the country. We're seeing that now. But Fultz putting on a little bit of a show at the end of the half.
Markkanen, 18 points, 8 rebounds in that first half. How about some Big 12 action? Kansas and Baylor, 3 versus 4. Bill Self orchestrating yet another magnificent season, led by this man, Frank Mason, one of his 8 assists down low to Josh Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson's really blossomed into a star for Kansas. But what does Kansas do? They make things happen. Landon Lucas getting the rebound. He'll get to the free throw line to put Kansas up 2.
And he would make the first free throw. Lucas then knocking down the second. That would put Kansas up by 2. And then an interesting development for Baylor.
Yeah, they called a timeout. And Scott Drew telling me tonight he did so because Monolith Khan's ankle wasn't right. And he was worried he couldn't get to the basket and get the ball to Jonathan Motley. They get off a bad shot. He credited Kansas's defense.
Kansas can clinch their 13th straight regular season Big 12 title Wednesday versus TCU. How about Kentucky and Georgia? Georgia fighting for their tournament lives early on. De'Aaron Fox with less than 2 minutes to go, tying it up at 73.
Well, Mark Fox told me if they're going to beat Kentucky, they had to make sure they stopped De'Aaron Fox. They weren't able to do so. They lost Yante Maton early in this game, and yet they were right there to potentially win it. And again, John, Georgia cannot close the deal. This has happened to them throughout the course of the season.
As Kentucky survives, winning it by 5, tied with Florida now, tops in the SEC. This one a tough one for me, being a Seton Hall grad. Villanova matching up with the Hall, and Josh Hart putting on a clinic against the Pirates.
Yeah, he was looking like player of the year, although Jalen Brunson had a phenomenal game, 22 points, 10 assists, 7 of 7. This was in front of, by the way, John, the largest crowd ever to watch Seton Hall at the Prudential Center, 16,733, but they saw a 22-point loss.
Villanova clinching a share of the Big East title with that victory. Wake and Duke. Last time these two teams met, it was a back-and-forth battle in Winston-Salem. Second half, Duke up 1. Luke Kennard, beautiful feed to the bucket.
Offense wasn't the problem here. Defense was. Wake really taking it to Duke, getting to the basket multiple times, and they're going to have multiple chances to potentially win this game.
Brian Crawford, 21 points for him, had a chance in the closing seconds, and yet Duke able to survive, winning it by 5. Their 7th straight victory, still very much in the hunt with North Carolina for the top spot in the ACC. Number of other bubble teams in action, including Marquette, surprising, up by 12 over Xavier.
Look, though, Xavier is really depleted. No Trayvon Blewett. They already lost Edmund Sumner. They're sort of limping to the finish line.
Meanwhile, no one can stop number 1 Gonzaga, Mark Few and company, trying to keep the undefeated season alive in their matchup versus Pacific. Meanwhile, Arizona has been led by Lauri Markkanen, 18 points, but we've got a battle in the Pac-12.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover.